Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. The first thing is I got a lot of comments from a lot of other people saying that I should be doing this more, but I think I've done it like quatrice. I don't know how you say 4 times that way. I have another YouTube channel. It is called Money Rules. Here it is right here. You get to see my face on it. I mainly talk about other topics that have to do just completely around money and not exclusively with cryptocurrencies. So if that interests you, slide on over to Money Rules and you can subscribe there. The other thing is that I have to discuss as well, very briefly, is that a number of people have been telling me that they have been contacted by me. I have been writing them. They have discussed things with me through the internet in some sort of way. That is not me. We are currently at the point in the cryptocurrency market where a lot of people's things are being mimicked. And long story short, people have tried mimicking my YouTube channel. People have mimicked me on Instagram, on Twitter, any other social media platform claiming that they are me. I've also heard this on Telegram and also on Reddit and stuff like that. I only use YouTube. That is the TMI channel, the Money Rules channel. What's the other thing? Oh, and I post my videos on Facebook and Twitter. That's it. So any other place you see me or have heard from me, or if I have ever emailed you, that is most certainly not me. And I will never, ever, ever ask you for money in exchange for information. A lot of people keep telling me, hey, I got an email from you a couple days ago saying that you could give me advice on how to invest in X, Y, and Z. But it would cost $24.99 and to be able to do it. And I was like, no, that's not. I give you all the information here because it's here. This is what I like to do. It's an easier way for you to be able to absorb information without having to, Anyway. The point is, nope, those aren't me, so delete those people, curse them out, do whatever you feel is appropriate. Here's my other channel that I post on about 3 times a week, usually Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, sometimes on Saturdays as well. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, of course, Bitcoin leads because the news today is a bit dramatic, if you will, but you'll get it all in time. There are more whales investing in Bitcoin than ever before. The number of whales holding more than 1,000 Bitcoin is now above 2,200, which is an all-time high according to crypto analytics firm Sentiment. Crypto intelligence platform Arcane Research shared the numbers, saying they show that the biggest investors in the crypto asset have no intention of selling for profit. And there's their tweet right there, probably saying exactly what I just told you. And there's a little chart for the amount of addresses that are currently holding more than 1,000 Bitcoin, which is obscene. And it's not just about the number of whales, according to the crypto researcher and Bitcoin advocate Lark Davis. He said 1,000 or more Bitcoin is kind of a tricky metric because some of these accounts have way more than 1,000 Bitcoin. But the total amount of Bitcoin held in accounts of 1,000 BTC or more is around 7.9 million Bitcoin. So this, of course, is big time evidence that the very wealthy investor class, they are buying Bitcoin. That's a huge increase from the beginning of the year. The total level of BTC held by whales decreased relatively steadily from 2016 until the beginning of 2020, declining more than 22% from around 6.7 million to 5.2 million, according to crypto intelligence firm Glassnode. So these numbers are very fascinating because once again, this is if they are holding more than 1,000 Bitcoin, and a lot of them do actually hold significantly more. Even if we just hit around the $8 million or 8 million Bitcoin in total that are being held by these heavy wallets, with 6 million Bitcoin lost, 3 million more that have to be mined. And then even more so, this is just over 1,000 Bitcoin. So you have to also assume there's probably another metric for people who have between 500 and 999 Bitcoin, which is also a fair amount of people. Then you have the numbers who have more than 100 Bitcoin and 499. One of the crazier numbers that we saw the last couple of months, I don't know if it was also from Sentiment, where they were discussing the amount of people who are buying up Bitcoin, and these addresses either become inactive after they have purchased, i.e. they're just simply accumulating. The money kind of sits there, or there's just accounts from a couple of years ago who were accumulating when the prices were a lot lower, and they've also simply stopped doing anything as well. And one of the other metrics for that was it was accounts that had more than, I think, a tenth of a Bitcoin to I think around 5 Bitcoin. And even the other metrics for 1 whole Bitcoin to 10 whole Bitcoin were also skyrocketing as well. So, and then the other fascinating part, to just drop one more thing of information, is that years ago we tried measuring a lot of these things, but we couldn't get information as to if there was an account that had 43,000 Bitcoin. No one knew if that belonged to a rich person or if it belonged to a cryptocurrency exchange. We now know all the addresses for the cryptocurrency exchanges because of the... sorry if you can hear the people cutting the grass outside. It's like annoying me. You probably can't hear it at all. I'm just... The point is, I forgot what I was saying. Jeez Louise. Yeah. We know the cryptocurrency exchange addresses because of all the transparency and the SEC and the CFTC and all these other things. So this is just purely rich people who have been buying up Bitcoin. They have more than 8 million Bitcoin that we are able to keep track of, and that's also just the accounts that have more than 1,000 Bitcoin inside of them. It's kind of insane. I assume we will get more numbers as time ends up going on. Nearly everyone I know, just about everyone I know who's into Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, no one has sold. No one plans on selling anytime soon. The idea of selling Bitcoin has kind of vanished from the minds of people that I know. Everyone is simply just accumulating and or waiting for some type of mythical number to kind of pop up. But yes, the rich are accumulating, and so is just about everybody else, because the price predictions that we keep getting for Bitcoin are kind of all over the place, and nobody wants to be the person who... Can you hear that? Or is it just me? It's like right outside the window. It's like trying to eat a sandwich and like a bee just lands on it and is like looking you in the face. It's like it's anyway. That's the Bitcoin news for that. I don't have any Bitcoin price news because the market is really... It's not down, but it's really just kind of just like fluctuating so much that no one... I think it's really funny because no one probably knew what news to put out about the prices of the cryptocurrency space, because no one can really tell where anything is going right now because of all the fluctuations. Anyway, let's move on. I want to open the window and like scream at the guy, but I think that'd be really rude. He's just doing his job. Fidelity aims to foray deep into the crypto market as the company files for a new Bitcoin-only fund for accredited and institutional players. The investment giant, Fidelity, also published a survey showing rising institutional participation in the crypto market. Yes, we also just heard about that as well. Fidelity it makes me wonder how much money they're putting into this. Like, that's what really gets me, because we'll never know the exact amount. Or rather, we'll see the rising accounts, but I really think... So I was talking with my friend last night. I'll be candid with all of you, talking with my friend last night about the amount of money that's kind of flowing into the space. And I really think if you put all the puzzle pieces together, I don't have the entire puzzle, complete, but I got about a good 85% of it that looks fairly well done. The amount of times that we heard that rich people had been accumulating Bitcoin since 2012 or 2014 was almost monstrous. It was Fidelity's New York Stock Exchange. It was the NASDAQ. It was the Winklevoss twins. It was not MacGyver. What's this guy's name? Novogratz? MacGyver. And there were a couple of other people. The guy from Virgin Airlines. There was also news in like 2012 or 13 or something like that. He had all these he had a whole bunch of Bitcoin developers have a party at his private island, and I assume he wasn't just taking shots with them. He was probably doing. The point is, I think rich people have been in the market for a very long time, a lot longer than people are expecting or thinking. And if you, so here's the conversation me and my friend had last night was pretty much, it appears that the world economically right now is not doing well. It looks like we are probably not going to go back to the old system that we had before. There was just another article, and I think it may be, it's definitely one of the ones in this video as well. It looks like rich people have been preparing for this for a while. Not tinfoil hat, just logic. Why would they have been into Bitcoin in 2014 or 2013 when Bitcoin had been around for 4 or 5 years? It seems almost as if they knew that we were... You ever seen one of those like Wile E. Coyote cartoons where it's like the huge mountain, but like it has like a very tiny peak, and there's like a huge stone slab on top of it, like trying to balance itself, and eventually just kind of falls over. But like you know it's going to fall over watching it, even though it's a cartoon. Think about how many rich people and institutions got into Bitcoin when it was around for 4 or 5 years. The price was around $200 or $300. Why would they have put so much weight behind it unless they knew that there was some sort of a collapse coming, that things weren't going to work out well? It's kind of like their own way of prepping, but like in a really weird way. This is why when I keep saying or keep nudging towards the idea that Bitcoin is probably going to be, I don't think it's going to be the only world currency, but I think it's going to be something big, a lot major. I think $11,400 for Bitcoin is absolutely laughable, because we're probably going to see a mid 6-digit Bitcoin around $500,000 within our lifetime. Most definitely. This is my idea, within the next 8 years. So then you have the idea that if they saw the shift coming and have been investing in it since, what was that, 6-7 years ago? Wouldn't it be odd if they were clearly getting ready. This isn't like what's the word? Not a prediction, but like a thinking of like a logical way. Like I think the rich people have been in the market for so long that they've been preparing for all of this. They probably even knew that the fall that we're currently seeing was going to happen. And they've positioned themselves to be they are already the wealthiest people on the planet, but imagine you have the US dollar, and the US dollar can be printed at will, but typically they try to aim for a 2 to 3% increase in inflation per year. Now imagine an asset that only has 21 million of it. Like imagine if there were only 21 million US dollars. How many people would be trying to grab a US dollar because of how expensive and how worth it and valuable that US dollar would actually be? Now imagine if we had news that they're only 21 million US dollars. But since 2013, 2014, there are rich people who have 10,000 US dollars. There's someone else who has 45,000 US dollars. There's a couple of twins who have around 200,000 US dollars. And then you go, well, I kind of also want some US dollars. But then you realize that they've been buying up a lot more. You understand what I'm saying? Like they're buying up this new asset that can also be used as cash and is going to be valuable and probably going to have stuff built on top of it and or next to it and or valued against it. But they're going to own almost all of it, especially as we see this currency shift happening between the US dollar and other currencies and the devaluation of the US dollar. And you get it? You kind of get what I'm saying? I didn't mean to sidetrack so much from the Fidelity thing, but it's clear that this is all happening. It's not just me and my friend, right? There seems to be how many other investments are there that other institutions could be getting into? But the news that we keep constantly getting is that they're all getting into Bitcoin. They're all getting, and I don't even mean like the other cryptocurrencies. I mean like in general, they're sliding into crypto as fast as they possibly can and making sure that they offer things and change the laws so that it's better and easier for rich people to get into it, and or even normal people to start getting into the market as they accumulate more and more of it. So what happens in 4 years if if Bitcoin's price is skyrocketing, but at the same exact time all the rich people are buying up? And then we have a situation where all the people who could have gotten into Bitcoin before, even all the brand new people, they're happy to just even have 0.01 Bitcoin. Like I have 1/100th of a Bitcoin. Isn't that crazy? And then you have people on the other side who are like, well, I have 45,000 Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin's price in 20 years hits $1 million per coin. And then you have people who are like, man, I will never forget the day that I accumulated 25,000 Satoshis. You have 25,000 Satoshis? That's crazy. And they're like, yeah, I got really lucky. And then once again, you have people who have an entire Bitcoin, who have 20 Bitcoin, who have 15,000 Bitcoin. You get it? Isn't it weird? Because they're clearly prepared or have been preparing for something through all of this. Dubbed, here's the name of the actual fund, Wise Origin Bitcoin Index Fund, ILP. Not joking. The fund specifically targets rich people putting high value crypto bets. Involving institutional and accredited players, the pooled investment fund has a minimum investment of 100,000 US dollars. The Bitcoin only fund will be available only to qualified purchasers via registered investment advisors, family offices, and other institutions. In an email to Bloomberg, they wrote, Bitcoin's the future, money, 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 we want more money. fairly popular news. I guess it's because the name Fidelity is attached to it, and also you have to have 100K to be able to buy into the fund, and also everything I just said. It's clear as day, like it's clear as daylight. But I mean, I guess in 8 years we'll know if I was correct or simply just rambling into a microphone, because something's afoot. Something's happening that I'm glad that we are at least a part of, but I really wonder how the world is going to shape as the US dollar continues to not do very well, and especially with other assets and this brand new shiny asset that all the richest people in the world are diving into. Let's move on. Tying, I guess, closely into what we were just talking about, the US SEC, they are the Securities and Exchange Commission, has broadened the definition of accredited investor, or rich people, a change that could allow more investors to participate in cryptocurrency ICOs and other offerings. Under US regulations, only accredited investors are allowed to buy cryptocurrencies from token sales and ICOs. Meanwhile, the general public can only trade any given cryptocurrency on an exchange after its ICO has concluded. In practice, this means that only wealthy investors have access to early investment opportunities, which has been one of my main things for a while, because the law is... What's the opposite of smart? That's what it is. The idea that you are too stupid or too dumb or not accredited enough to be able to invest in an ICO. Let's say it's the 10th of April. There's an ICO happening. You can't get into it because you're not accredited. On the 11th of April, once the ICO has concluded, as it says right here, you are then legally allowed to trade that cryptocurrency after the ICO has concluded. What happened in that 24-hour period that you before were not worthy enough, but then 24 hours later, you can do as you... Sure, the ICO is over. You can do whatever you want. These rules are made to make sure that very rich people can dive into these things alone. Remember when we had, first of all, going on the topic of DeFi and all these other coins that are just not going to be here. Remember all the coins that we had in 2017 and 2018, all these ICO coins that were also only allowing accredited investors or other like very rich people to be allowed inside of these things. And then by the time the actual sales were over, what coin was that? There was one coin. It had, I think, 3 investors that had bought up 90% of the coin. And I was like, what kind of madness is that? Can you imagine if only 3 people owned 90% of all the Bitcoin in the world? What a ruckus that would cause. And I remember mentioning it in the video. People were like, it's not that bad, it's fine. It'll be redistributed. And I'm like, yeah, from the rich people who own all of it. They'll start dumping it onto the market to simply, oh my gosh, this coin's worth a lot of money. Let me buy more of it. And it'll also prop up their wallet. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I look forward to see exactly where this law is going to go. The SEC's new rules mean that individuals can become accredited investors by proving their knowledge, experience, or certifications, which is just also complete nonsense. First of all, no one's investing in ICOs anymore except for people who are just trying for a lot. A lot of these coins are garbage. A lot of these coins you should not be putting your money into. A lot of these coins will rise in value during any type of a bull market, but will slam down and become dust almost immediately after. No one really cares about ICOs. I assume, in all actuality, this is probably the 3-year wait for some type of an ICO ruling law to kind of be put into place to simply allow more people to get into it or to make it more legal for a wider blanket of people. And I'm not joking. I assume within the next 3 years as well, we'll have some type of a law for who can and who cannot get into a DeFi project, because you'd better believe they're probably drafting all that stuff right now or making ideas as to who can get into a DeFi project. But this is why I keep mentioning it's interesting, because a lot of these, the world is moving, the digital world, the cryptocurrency world, the financial world is moving to a more decentralized place where you can't simply walk into an office and say, hey, you shut down, like every single ICO was. So when all these things are widespread and are decentralized, how can you tell people that they can or can't? I mean, you can try and scare them to say that they can't get into it, but you really can't stop them from doing it. This is why the idea of Bitcoin with private transactions, once again, is so fascinating, because imagine a world where all the rich people are buying up all these assets. It completely destroys the idea of AML and KYC. This new form of money that can pass hands freely back and forth with private transactions, how do you AML KYC it? You can't. Anyway, incredibly popular news. Here's the website, the SEC website. It says SEC modernizes the accredited investor definition. Good luck. I mean, I have so much more to say, but I'm going to put up my, hit my microphone. That's a good segue. All right, let's move on. Next up, in news, the People's Bank of China is planning to use the national digital currency at the 2022 Winter Olympics game that will take place in Beijing. Sun Guofeng, an executive of the PBOC, noted that the digital currency's exact launch date is unclear as of now. However, Guofeng said that China is likely to roll out before the 2022 Winter Olympic Games, as they plan to use it during the sports event. China's Ministry of Commerce had earlier announced to expand tests of the digital currency to more cities to determine how the network handles high-volume commercial transactions. The test aims to determine whether the platform can handle high-volume commercial transactions for verticals, including hospitality and e-commerce payment processing. The Ministry of Commerce recently published a detailed... So this was also popular. I guess maybe for a couple of reasons. One, we know that there's a central bank digital currency. Got that already. Two, that they plan on using it for their Winter Olympics. Sure, why not? What was three? I guess maybe the timing of it. I guess because there's no actual launch date for it right now. The news that we had before was that Libra was going to launch in November, and they said that they were, this right here on the screen, that they were going to launch their coin before Libra. Has something happened to Libra? Is Libra now slowed down? Is the time frame date still not applicable to what it was before? Are we going to see this new central bank digital currency sometime next year? Who knows? And I almost said who cares, but it's kind of like yeah, sure. We're a couple of months away from next year. I assume that they're doing probably extensive testing right now. And I assume by the end of this year, they'll probably roll this out. There's a lot happening between here and another place on the planet right now, and a lot of articles being written. Oh, well, actually, I think we can even just segue right into that right now. So apparently, yeah, they're going to be releasing their coin before the Winter Olympics, and maybe sooner, and they're going to be using it there. Here we go. Chris Larsen, co-founder of Ripple, stresses on the fact that China-based miners currently control 65% of the Bitcoin hash rate and can have absolute control over the protocol in the future. Larsen requested U.S. regulators to work closely with the American blockchain and cryptocurrency companies, which is something that's been echoed a lot by many other people. A lot of people have been saying and have been asking, which means it's probably not taken shape like they wanted it to. There have been multiple people from the cryptocurrency space who have been asking U.S. regulators, work with us, help us do this, make sure that we are number one. But I guess they've been asking for 3 years, so this clearly means that there hasn't been a strong amount of collaboration. Last week, on the 21st of August, Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen wrote an op-ed piece in the popular publication, The Hill. In the piece, Larsen is speaking about the brewing tech war between the world's two largest economies, the U.S. and China. Larsen revealed how the United States is losing ground to China and thus its economic leadership. I saw something about 2 days ago. It was nothing to do with the Ripple guy, but it was on that same exact topic about how fast their tech is growing, about how fast their self-driving car thing is moving. Like, all their technology is moving at an exponential pace, and it appears that the other country is not moving as fast as they were expected to be at this time. Currently, the two countries are battling every odd with the upcoming 5G technology. Chinese companies have been making an aggressive push to grab a share of the U.S. telecom market. However, citing issues of national security, the U.S. is making roadblocks. We got that. Reportedly, the U.S. securities agencies claim that China has been sharing information that's, I'm going to say allegedly or probably, that's probably a given. We know how governments work. I think it would be foolish to think that that wasn't taking place. However, apart from 5G and the AI battle, Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen thinks that the U.S. is neglecting, aggression from that country in the blockchain and digital currency space. Larsen said that although China has banned crypto transactions, it has largely subsidized the energy supply required by cryptocurrency miners. He said at least 65% of cryptocurrency mining is concentrated in China, which means the Chinese government has the majority needed to wield control over those protocols and can effectively block or reverse transactions. Where do I begin? How do I dissect this? This has been an argument for a while. We've had this argument since around 2016. That was kind of the first time that Bitcoin really was making it into the news. And even before the price rises that we had, that people were saying, hey, this might be an issue in the future. Because we knew that there were about 3 cryptocurrency mining pools that had around, I think, 52% of the Bitcoin mining capacity. And the idea was that this country could have simply torn things apart. And I do not personally think that is going to happen, simply because they have control over it. If you are in control mathematically, percentage-wise, of a $200 billion asset, you're probably going to want to keep said power and or do whatever you can to make sure that you keep that power on your ground. And this is why the news that we keep getting about every 3 weeks, that some new company is popping up and they're buying 13,000 mining so-and-sos, and they're going to be located in Alaska, and this one's going to go into Canada, and this one's going to Norway, and this one's going to Texas for the solar and wind-powered machines. I think companies and people in the cryptocurrency space are very much aware of this situation that's currently happening, but I don't think they're going to give up that power anytime soon. Imagine your neighborhood, where you live, in your house. You have 65% control over the Bitcoin network. Are you going to let that go? Probably not. So this leads, this is a very open-ended discussion. What can you really say about this? We've known this has been happening for a while. What does this mean for the future of Bitcoin? Probably nothing dramatically negative in any sort of way, but it does give... Imagine Bitcoin goes up to $35,000 per coin, $50,000 per coin, $100,000 per coin, and they control 65% of the mining power. Are they going to let that go? Probably not. That also leads us into a world where, imagine if Bitcoin does continue to become a more widely used global currency. Look who has control over it. Are they going to let that go? Probably not. What happens to the country who controls the largest currency or the largest asset on the planet? Are they going to let that go? Probably not. Here's the actual article right here. It says the tech cold war is here and the US isn't winning. If you have the chance at any point, especially during today, maybe open up a new tab on YouTube, start watching videos about this, because it is quite fascinating to see the way that the world is currently taking shape. This will have implications for all of us in the future, whether they be negative or positive. However, the world that we knew before, in my eyes, has vanished. We are this year 2020 is very significant, not only because it's a round number, but this is leading us into our future, what we're going to see, what we're going to be. This also ties into the entire idea of what we were talking about before. All the mega institutions and all the big money have been buying Bitcoin. We're seeing a shift in power. We're seeing a shift in policy. We're seeing a shift in, can I say size contests kind of thing? And I think we are, I think the world has changed. I think a lot of people won't admit it, but we are definitely witnessing it's not a handover of power. It's a tug of war. And one person is holding the rope with like 3 hands right now. Let's move on. Also, kind of tying into the other things we were talking about, crypto investor Ari Paul has predicted that within a year or two, much of the crypto ecosystem will only allow withdrawals to whitelisted addresses. In a tweet on the 26th of August, the Block Tower Capital co-founder and CIO, Ari Paul, forecasted that there may also be a division between clean coins that can be traced to regulated institutions and all others. For those of you who don't understand that, I know a lot of you do, but for those of you who may be new here or simply have no idea what I'm talking about, the idea has been for a while that when new Bitcoin are created, imagine there's a box. All this Bitcoin is created. You take out a Bitcoin, your friend takes out a Bitcoin, I take out a Bitcoin, and so do 45 other people. We all have Bitcoin. At some point during the next year, you decide to keep your Bitcoin under your mattress. I put mine into a drawer. You put yours into the bank. You put yours somewhere else. The 45 other people, about 5 of them at some point, they decide to start buying things that aren't necessarily legal within their town. And that goes to the other person. Now imagine beneath every single Bitcoin, there's like you write down what was purchased with said thing or like exactly who it came from. At the end of the year, we all get back together and we show each other our Bitcoin. And on the back of it, I have no transactions. I kept it. I got it from the machine. Decided not to do anything with it. My friend, she got hers from a couple friends. It says bakery, and she bought a dog with it as well. Someone else shows theirs, but then 4 people on the other side, they show us theirs. And it has a list of about 45 different things on it. None of them too savory for governments. And this actually happens when transactions are passed through different blockchains. There's something, I mean, it's part of the UTXO, the unspent transaction outputs, but it's more so like when a transaction bounces through the network, it kind of keeps track of the other machines in the easiest form of where it was before. So that at the end, you can see, wow, this Bitcoin has 300 transactions attached to it because it's been around for so long. Rich people are trying to now buy Bitcoin that are newly minted, coming out of the machine, that have no transactions attached to their systems at all. Because these Bitcoin are seen as more attractive, because governments around the world have started to blacklist certain cryptocurrencies and certain Bitcoin that have touched other addresses. That should have made it extremely clear from everything I just said. So what we have now is that there are many cryptocurrency exchanges that are freezing transactions and not letting people take their cryptocurrencies off of exchanges. Remember, as long as you are legally able to do so within your borders or where you are in the world, I would recommend, unless you really don't trust yourself, your cryptocurrency should probably not be on an exchange. It should be on a hard drive. It should be on a Nano ledger. It should be on some type of other device that does not require you to ask a cryptocurrency exchange if you can take it off. Once again, as long as you are legally able to do so, I would advise you do so. If you do not know how to do so, research it for a month, really get it into your head, and lean towards that direction. I spoke about this before. We're already seeing there have been a lot of people in the comment section, and I've seen people on Reddit and other places who've told me that I've had this issue before as well. Last year, when I tried to take out some money from a cryptocurrency exchange who will not be named, I was rejected and I was told no. And I sat there thinking, I was furious for a couple minutes, but I was like, nope, let me actually message them and figure out what's going on. I had to go through all the AML KYC loops to be able to get my money off, but not to put my money on, which was a real head scratcher for me. And it mainly came down to control. They want to know where this money's going, how it's being transacted, and yada, yada, yada. So this is going to only increase in the future. Cryptocurrency exchanges are not going to become less regulated. They're only going to become more regulated, the same exact way that a lot of these cryptocurrency exchanges now have bank charters. They are going to be the banks of the future. A lot of people are going to use them as the place to hold their cryptocurrencies. But the biggest problem is going to be, imagine you have cryptocurrencies right now, whether cumulatively or one coin that you have multiple of. And 5 years in the future, you decide, oh my gosh, let me look at the price of this coin. You have $1 million worth of crypto. You try to take it off of an exchange. You can't. Either because they've backtracked certain addresses that then show that the coins that you hold are dirty and thus have been blacklisted and you can't get your coins off of that exchange ever. Or you simply have to go through all these loops and jumps to be able to take your own money off of an exchange. It is not a good feeling. And it's probably, once again, if you're legally able to do so, look into it. And this is probably also why we saw that huge increase. Remember, since I think it was January or even last year, the uptick in the amount of people, or rather the decrease in the amount of Bitcoin on cryptocurrency exchanges was falling quite rapidly. And people were saying it's bullish because people are taking their coins off and therefore they have no intent of spending it. It's more so like, I think people are understanding that self-custody is not a bad thing. It's going to become a major thing. And yeah. He said within a year or two, most crypto exchanges will probably only allow withdrawals to whitelisted addresses. That is probably also going to be an address that they can verify. The same exact way that money bounces from account to account. I can totally foresee a future where crypto exchanges won't even allow you to withdraw money to your crypto address on your phone or to a Nano ledger because it has not been registered with them. They said we'll have separate ecosystems for coins, clean coins that can be traced to a regulated institution, and everything else. This is why, once again, private transactions for Bitcoin are going to become a thing and why they're going to be incredibly important in the future. Once we have private transactions and people can't trace these transactions, all coins become clean coins. And global financial regulators are increasingly demanding stricter compliance levels for crypto exchanges and companies. Paul reinforced that point by saying the biggest exchanges are racing to implement compliance processes, having already been informed that they are not up to regulatory standards. Listen, man, it's going to get real really fast. And a lot of people, I don't know if you think I'm joking. I don't know if you think you have 2 years to be able to do this. If you're going to start doing it in at the beginning of 2022, understand what I'm saying. Please listen to the tone of my voice as I say these things. As long as you are legally able, fourth time I'm repeating this, please look into these things. It's going to get really serious really, really fast. And let's move on. In news that we also spoke about yesterday, but is really, really at the forefront of all the news right now, a speech by Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell scheduled for today offers a reminder of just how drastically once slow-moving monetary forces have accelerated due to the devastating economic toll of 19. This time last year, Donald Trump was vehemently criticizing Powell on Twitter for setting interest rates too high, as U.S. economic growth slowed and national debt swelled past $22 trillion U.S. dollars. This time last year, then Bank of England Governor Mark Carney delivered a speech at the Fed's annual Jackson Hole Economic Symposium in Wyoming, warning that the U.S., here we go. Remember when we spoke about this? Warning that the U.S. dollar's status as the de facto global currency contributes to an unsustainable international economic and monetary regime. When we had that news, and they only have like this one sentence there. When that happened, there were tons of other people in the audience who also agreed with him. We've had news for a while that many other countries, very strong countries. It's not other, it's not 15 other small countries that you may not even know how to find on a map. These are very large countries who have already come together to find a way to get around the US dollar. And this is why, once again, Bitcoin is so important. Remember the country that's above South Korea? When they were in the news that they had also been accumulating large amounts of cryptocurrencies, and the news that we had in 2016 and 17 and 18, that since 2014 and 15, allegedly these countries, all the countries under sanctions by the US, had apparently been accumulating tons and tons of Bitcoin. And I said they're creating their own ecosystem amongst themselves. This also helped to reinforce why I assumed Bitcoin would be the major coin or the major player or would be around for a very long time. They already don't like the US dollar. They've been looking for a way to get around it. They've been accumulating Bitcoin. They can already transact amongst themselves. Imagine what happens when Bitcoin goes to $100,000, when Bitcoin hits $500,000. These countries already have been accumulating and have their world reserves of Bitcoin. What happens when you control the most money in the world? You become a major world player. Is it all connecting? Hope it is. Fast forward to now, and the Jackson Hole Conference has been forced to go virtual because of 19. Trump's economic stewardship, including a U.S. stock market that many investors now say is propped up by the Fed's $3 trillion. I mean, listen, if you print trillions of dollars and actively tell us that you're pushing that into the stock market, what do you think is going to happen? The national debt is now 26 trillion. Oh, listen, I mean, this is part of also the conversation me and my friend were having yesterday. The discussion that's going to happen today by the chair of the Fed is, I think, if they're going to continue inflating the US dollar to help the GDP rise and increase the economy and any other excuses that they can possibly do. I don't assume that we're going to be, if they lower interest rates even further from 0.25 where they currently are, I think Bitcoin would probably skyrocket almost immediately. This is a very big day. This is going to be a very big discussion. And I think when this happens, depending on what time it is, we'll discuss it, or we'll have to do it tomorrow. But either way, this is going to be a very big day for money. And I don't mean that is not to be taken lightly. This is going to change. I mean, everything that's been happening this year has been showing a shift away from the US dollar. Every single thing. And it's only accelerated, especially with the creation of central bank digital currencies and the accumulation of Bitcoin by not only rich people, but also countries. I really hope you're all paying attention. I know to the 5 people who are paying attention, I'll give you a digital high five. I felt someone slap my hand back. I hope that was not a ghost. But yes, here's the actual article, or an article that they were mentioning in this article from Bloomberg. I can't look at the article. They're asking for $199 a month or $340 a year. I don't know how those numbers add up at all. It says Goldman worries the dollar's grip on global... Oh, crap, I forgot what it was. I remembered it earlier. The dollar's grip on global commerce is falling. I think that's what the article said. Everybody get ready. It's going to be quite a wild ride. As always, an extremely large thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Snacky Chan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain Decentralized, Peter, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High, XRP, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Steuer, Nostromo, John Sarson, the Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia. Yeah, I said that right. What's wrong with me? Okay, good. Todd Mullis, Adam Graysek, Mohammed Maroni, Massive Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Damian Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangelavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller, His Chest Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes to Crypto. Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, Arfmedic 17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger and Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel. Someone in the other channel On Crypto with Lionel wrote like a comment in the comment section, and someone was like, I keep hearing your name in my head every time I read it. So I guess it worked subliminally. On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel, and thank you to everyone who is a supporter in any way possible. The prices are all over the place. There was a dip moving up. It looks like it's poising itself to try and move higher. I don't think there are really any indications as to what the Fed chairman is going to say exactly tonight. Many of the coins are in green. A lot of websites still don't have Polkadot. I went to CoinGecko, and Polkadot is listed as the number 5 coin. It was actually tussling back and forth with Chainlink. Binance coin is up. A lot of the market's in red because I think the market has no idea where to go. I think a lot of people are probably pushing down the prices of a lot of these coins, trying to make sure that they can accumulate them at a lower price just in case something goes crazy later on. Yeah, man. Everything is going sideways. And hope you heard the tone of my voice. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Pay attention to the things happening around you. There's a lot of movement going on, even when people are told that it's not. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See